another Culture Foolishness. This is episode 8. 8. We are rolling along, guys. I am Creed of Exodus Studios and ArchitectsOfMars.com, and my co-host is...
You know what it is, Coach Tamara Simone, your favorite life coach's favorite life coach. If you don't know, now you know.
Yes, indeed. So today we are doing a culture news break, just recapping some of the goings on the past couple days and just our opinions and spins on a couple things that's been going on. So my good friend Coach Tamara Simone here told me that I needed to watch the Breakfast Club Tyrese interview, and I don't know if I'm glad that I did, but it definitely was entertaining for sure.
well, for one, for those who don't know, Tyrese kind of like pulled up at the Breakfast Club like a week ago, and they wouldn't let him in.
Oh wow! Oh, it was like that. I didn't know
Well,
about that.
it wasn't. It was like that per se. Low key, the only person who could pull up to the Breakfast Club without anything being scheduled and they let him rock is Ray J, because
Oh,
Ray J put the Breakfast Club on the map.
okay.
Like they were on the verge of getting canceled, and then Ray J got on the air, Ray J and boost the ratings up and save them. So because of that, he's always able to pull, and he has pulled up
Just on
unannounced.
some whatever shit. Somebody just in the middle of an interview and he just pull
I
up.
mean, like they'll finish the interview and then like bring him in or whatever like that.
Oh,
But
okay.
like, yeah, like in fact, one time like him and Bow Wow pulled up at like 7 a.m. like ultra random. It was, man, let me tell you something. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, so Tyrese tried to pull a Ray J, and the two of them doing an interview together or just being in the same room together will be awesome from an
Right.
entertainment standpoint. But
Yes.
I digress.
Yeah, that would be
So
great.
Tyrese pulled up about a week ago trying to pull a Ray J, and it didn't go so well. And people kind of speculated that it was because him and DJ Envy had a little bit of a heated exchange the last time he was on a Breakfast Club because this is super brief, but because when DJ Envy and his wife were going through marital problems, then Tyrese, who didn't know him personally at the time, reached out and was very willing to help him and everything like that, and like really like he credits Tyrese with helping to save his marriage.
Oh, okay.
And from there then they became cool. But allegedly, according to Envy, then Tyrese started like texting his wife inappropriately and things like that, and he was like, yeah, nigga, that's gonna be a no for me.
That's what I
And
heard. I heard about the texting. I don't know if it was inappropriate or not, but if you feel it, it was.
certain things you're not supposed to be saying to another man's wife.
For sure.
So there was a little bit of static there. So when he pulled up last week and he wasn't allowed up, then it was like, oh, Envy probably was like, hell no. But he pulled, look, maybe they was just like, why don't you schedule an appointment? We have some openings next week. And, you know, if you're still going to be in New York, we'd love to have you. I'm just going to go with that. So he pulled up. Envy was there at the beginning of the interview, and they on air said, like, no, it's good. We had a conversation. We squashed everything. It's all love, blah, blah, blah. But outside of that, then Tyrese it on up.
Yeah. The thing about Tyrese, I think that's jarring sometimes. I mean, we used to him being a fool, but I always go back to the first appearance of him just singing on
Here
a
we go.
bus. And he went from singing on the bus to just Tyreseing it up. It's okay. I mean, he has entertained us for years, purposely and not on purpose, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So his interview was definitely interesting. It went pretty much all over the place, and he really, one thing I will say, they just let him talk. They didn't really interrupt him too much. I mean, he wasn't letting you either because the poor girl was trying to ask him some questions, and he just was like, the album is, I was like, damn.
Yeah, Pope Baby was trying to ask some questions, and he's like 1992
Mm.
and the album coming out on the same day. I'm like, all right.
Okay. All right. We know. I'm
Okay.
intrigued when the
Oh,
last the
I'm gonna listen
last
to the album.
heartbreak album he made was real good.
Oh,
So
the Black Rose album was
yeah,
phenomenal. So
that
look,
was a
I'm gonna
great
listen.
album. Yeah,
That was a great album. I'm gonna listen. I ain't gonna tell you
yeah.
no lies.
One thing
Um,
about Tyrese, he is all over the place, but ain't nobody gonna say that boy can't sing. Like I think you sent me, or maybe I sent you something from it, like a clip or something. But I remember being like, the comments in here is perfect because it was like everybody saying the same thing. That boy crazy as hell. He sure can't sing. No, like everybody, it was like literally that over and over again in about 50 different variations. Man, that boy off, but man, I tell you, on God, he could sing his ass. I like it's like literally every person was saying the same thing because
oh,
it's
of course, right?
because he can sing.
Look, I'm over here listening to Sweet Lady right now.
It was one of them in the comments for sure. Like
Oh, I ain't heard that in
that's
a
some
minute. I'm gonna have to
classics.
jam out. That is the one right there.
Yeah,
Mm,
he has
mm,
some
mm.
jams.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Um, and, and it's like, one thing about him is that even when he go all off the deep end and all over the place, then he gets in these moments where he says some real stuff.
He
He's
said some
also
real things a
he
few times.
he's also when you see him in interviews like this, especially, then you see that he's not trying to be funny, and it's hilarious.
That's what make it funny though.
Yes.
Cause he just be like, look, when he was talking about uh how he needs to get signed to do arenas because he could still sell out arenas and talking about putting people to bed and then mama coming to the show. And I was like, it's so many words. I don't know if they're necessary. So many words. Like he likes to talk.
Oh, he just
He
kept
likes
talking
to
about how
talk.
he grown.
Yeah,
He
45 years old. You absolutely are.
Carl, he been saying he grown since Baby Boy. Like, watch Baby Boy. He lived. Yvette say, when you gonna grow up, Jody? He said, what you talking about? I'm grown out here. This nigga been saying he grown.
Grown. Like it's something wrong with him.
Um,
Something wrong with him. I will
I
say this though, the to have the vulnerability to expose certain emotions publicly is pretty impressive slash for me kind of scary because I'm an Aquarius. That shit is crazy to me. Seeing
um
crying in pub, I'm like,
okay, so I was gonna get to that because the segment where Charlemagne asked him about like how he is dealing with grief from all of the people that he has lost in his life, and that is when he got emotional, he started crying, but he owned it, and he was just like, like, black man cry. And like, and I think his response to the question um was really it was very insightful, because I think it was
mm-hmm.
something to the effect of like, I'm just getting through every day as best as I can. Something to that effect. I wish I
He said, I'm just getting through every 24 hours the best I can, or something like that.
something to that effect.
But that's what
And
we
then I
all
went,
doing,
yeah,
essentially.
yes, for sure. But like, when like, he lost his co-star Paul Walker, and then John Singleton, and then his mom. He said both his sisters passed away, and then like like it was him talking about the divorce and saying like that is like a death. So I saw somebody say that divorce is like your spouse dying but not actually getting buried.
Because the person that you loved and had these certain interactions with, they ain't gone. They gone.
Well, because like if a marriage ends because it's till death do you part, then that person's gone and you don't see them anymore. But with the divorce situation, like they gone, but you still see them, or you just know that they exist in some capacity, like on the earth. So I thought that was interesting. And again, another like when Charlemagne was trying to, like, I know what he was trying to do. He was kind of trying to pivot a little bit because he was like, oh, you crying and people going, but he was just like, no, like it's okay for us to cry. And I thought that was important to see. Again, like I get your point because I'm like, the tear don't fall if a camera's on me for real. But
right.
but I guess what like in this day and age where Black men have such high rates of suicide and this, that, and the third, and we know that Black men go through things. Women, us as women, black, white, blue, yellow, green, we're allowed to be vulnerable. It's even encouraged because it's a sign of femininity. So it's like, yes, do that, be that emotional creature that you are, that's in your nature. But when a man shows emotion of any capacity, then they're laughed at, they're considered weak, they're shamed. But then also that same person, if they were to harm themselves in some capacity, then it's like, oh my God,
be all sad.
like mental health matters, like talk to somebody. Like, no, because when they tried, then you laughed at them, so you can't have it both ways.
That's
so
the thing with guys, like we get this like basically contradictory advice, because it's on one hand say this, on one hand,
I've seen and even heard women say like, yes, I want him to be vulnerable, but like I want him to be vulnerable the way that makes me comfortable. Like I want him to be vulnerable, but in a way that I still respect him, or something retarded like that. I don't know. They were single, but the point is, that was again like what he said was very insightful as it pertains to like even like people get like I mean I get it because he does talk about his ex-wife quite a bit, but he's like, I married this, I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with this woman, and then that didn't happen, and that is not an easy thing to deal with. So definitely that. Now the tissue part, that shit was hilarious.
Yes, I don't need no fucking tissue. I was like,
and then when he hands him the tissue, he's like, yeah, anyway. And this nigga did not break. Man, listen, he ain't the best actor, but that boy be acting. Because he tossed that tissue and I was in his nothing changed. I was like, this man is man, listen. He locked in. He's locked in. And seen.
One thing I do want to like kind of cover with that before we move on to another subject. The part in the beginning when he was talking about the Teddy Pendergrass movie, I didn't even know the details on that as much.
Yeah, me either.
If she holding it up because the movie wasn't gonna show her, and she at the end of his life when he in a wheelchair, then she wild. Because not to say nobody would want to see, obviously the beginning of when it happened and all of that, I'm sure that'll be in the movie, but it got to the point where he damn near was paralyzed about the equal amount of time that he was walking, by the time he died.
Yeah, for sure.
Because let me think, that happened when I was a little kid, and then I don't know, that was a long ass time ago. So I ain't never known him to be able to walk in my lifetime. Most of us
me
haven't,
either.
as our parents. So And some of them, depending on how old you are, they
Right.
barely remember. But yeah, he was a problem boy back in them 70s. I saw some of the tapes. I was like, oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
they might have had to sit that boy down because he was a
and
problem.
and did. Um so yeah, no, that was definitely interesting. The only thing else I want to touch on in the interview that I found was, insightful is that how he mentioned how everyone accuses him of wanting his ex back because he has, talked about how this album is about her and X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, why is it that females can sing about doing XYZ with dudes and all these toxic relationships that they've endured, and they can talk about and they can work through it through their music, and then no one accuses them of wanting
That's
that
true.
person back. He be saying, when he be
That's
saying
true.
some stuff.
I mean, it's so many double standards for the genders, and we've done episodes on it. I'm sure we'll do more.
Yeah,
We'll try to
yeah,
do, I always want to do things, or we always want to do things from an angle that's giving you something different. And there's so many people talking about that. So it's like, I'm cool.
yeah,
But
yeah. But
so
anyway,
right.
moving along.
Moving on. So in our hometown, the DNC is going on right now, the Democratic National Convention.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Cam is the main person we want to, well, not we want, the main person that's put in our, you know, face as the representative of the Democratic Party this year. Honestly, as long as it's not Cheeto Man, I'm cool, because and this is the problem, I think for the past few years, or the past couple elections since Obama, and even with him is questionable, but after it's totally like, look, we don't like neither one of these people. Like every election has been that since he left. Like both people, you just like, I'm kind of cool
Like
on
that's
both
who
of them.
y'all. And then you know what happened? It turned into a circus at one point.
Oh my God, it's
When it
always
was
a
like,
circus, but it's
no,
really
no, no,
bad
no.
now.
What I mean when I said circus, I mean like everybody was saying that it was gonna run for president. Like
Yeah.
the because I got high nigga said that he was gonna run for president. I was just like, this nigga's high again.
Kanye and Lord.
Yeah, and then I mean, like it was all types of random insurgents talking about, oh, I'm running,
Mhm.
and then all of them disappeared and faded off to the black or whatever. But like, I think that also that makes it look more like a joke. It's just like, oh, okay,
Oh
who else?
yeah.
Oh, my cousin Tim running. Little Shay Shay now they said they gonna go ahead and put their name on the ballot. Like it's like at this point, who not running? Like,
Honestly, once Trump won in 2016, you knew it was a joke, because I remember when he was initially running, I still lived in Chicago.
yes,
I was at
yes, we did.
Steve's.
We both did.
We were talking about that, and it was so improbable that this fool could win at that point. It was just like, whatever. And I don't know why, but me and him had this kind of epiphany moment as we was laughing. We was like looking and kind of looking at the audience, and then we looked at each other. It was like, he gonna fuck around and win, maybe, because the energy around him, Hillary didn't have that. Now this
Mm-hmm.
time, he don't even have that, really,
Well,
not the same way, somewhat, but it's weakened because he lost a lot of the people who fucked with him before. The only people now is like weird um minorities that hate themselves and white people, because that's the, I mean, I just don't understand how, if you are a minority, but if really taking that out of the equation, if you're not rich, it's really no benefit for you to vote Republican, because all of their policies favor rich people. Now, Democrats, they gonna tax you, but they gonna give you services. So that's the trade-off. Unfortunately, people look at things at face value because, oh, I don't need that right now, but I need this. But when you do need it, you're gonna be right there asking for it, and ain't gonna be no money for it because you wanted Trump. And you how many times that then already happened out in rural such and such state where they just was like,
Oh yeah.
we don't need this. We want Trump. Trump ain't make nothing out there for you. Ain't no roles, ain't nothing better for the person that's in a rural, you know, predominantly Caucasian area in middle America. He ain't do nothing for y'all. I mean, shit. If you really want to keep it real, Obama ain't really do nothing directly for black people either, so
Well,
it's
that's
like the
that's benign
same thing.
neglect. That's no one has done anything directly for us that benefits solely us,
Right.
and that's
Ever.
just benign neglect. That's still in effect, and it has been since the 1960s.
60s.
I mean, yes, but I'm saying like a
70s.
fit, but officially in effect,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Officially in effect, yes.
So yeah, that's so the Obamas endorsed her, which of course, like, why wouldn't they? And wasn't
Yeah,
she
they
saying that Obama's trying is gonna
Obama is. I saw on the news because I'm that old person that watches the news every morning. Obama is going to be like kind of hitting the campaign trail with Kamala. So we ain't really seen Barack and Michelle like that as of late because they getting a empty nesters slash retirement thing popping, and rightfully so. But I guess for this election, then Obama's going to be popping out and kind of supporting fit, like being there and everything like that, and like on the campaign trail as well. So that's what I saw on the news. So we'll be tracking that in the next upcoming months because
yeah.
hell, election is what a little over 2 months away.
Right, and everything is shook up in the last few months, when normally it's like a solid, okay, this is the
Mm-hmm.
trajectory, and it's like 6, 7, 8, 9 months of that being that. This
Mm-hmm.
ain't that. This is like everything switched. Now we're dealing with this. What I want to see is the debate because,
Yeah, and we will.
oh boy, because
Yeah.
one thing that I don't think Trump really understand. He think he do because he be saying little stuff. You really don't want to argue with no black woman. All this is she black? You about to find out. Cause the way she about to tear this fool up, she's a real lawyer. He had
I mean, yes, from a legal aspect, then sure. Then I can see
no.
that,
I'm talking about
he just be
he just
saying he
saying
just be
dumb
saying
stuff, right?
anything.
He just be saying anything with his crazy butt. Oh Lord. It's just I think my frustration with this whole thing is it's a circus. They just pull out celebrities and try to convince you to, vote for such and such. Like they right now I've been seeing stuff with Taylor Swift. Is she a Democrat? Is she a like I don't care. But they know that people that follow those people can have sway on, where they gonna vote. So that's why they
Which
care. And it's
is
just like
a whole nother
crazy.
conversation for a whole nother episode. Because if you out here voting for folks based on what your favorite singer is doing,
Then
then
you need to
you
jump
have.
off a bridge. Hopefully it's water and you can go swimming, but you gotta do something.
But I digress as far as
Mm-hmm.
that's concerned.
Yeah. So I guess before we
Before
close
we
this
head on
out,
out,
we should speak on old
oh,
how
Jenny from the block.
Jenny from the Block and Ben Affleck.
Oh, Ben.
So
So you know what it is? We're right now in current times, we are living in two different couples spinning the block. And one of them it worked out quite nicely with Nelly and Ashanti. Um shouts out to the baby and everything like that. You know, it seemed like they going strong. We love that for them. Plus, I heard they're like secretly married or something. So, you know,
Right.
that's cool.
And
And
one
then,
is
and
going
then,
exactly where you thought it was gonna go.
I mean, yeah, like it's like it ain't always a good idea to spin the block. Sometimes
Especially
it
if it's
works. Sometimes it
for
don't.
Jenny from the block, then you really don't want to do that. But I
Yeah.
mean, so what I'm hearing is he's sober and she's not.
Mm.
And that has been a big roadblock with their relationship because he's around stuff. He might have slipped up
Mm.
while he's been with her, and he knows where he can go when he not right with that. So
Mm.
he's apparently it's one of the things where it's like I'm choosing me. I do love you type stuff, but I got to do this. However, I know that's probably wrapped in there, but she seems like a very
If I
beautiful
keep saying like, oh, she.
and annoyingly difficult ass woman. And yeah, so
Or as Sean will say, she seems like a beautiful headache.
she
He
does. She does. Like, and I'm sure like in the beginning, that's why he was looking all like, oh my god, I'm back with her, this is great, because she was being on best behavior, just being fine and sweet and all the stuff, and he was like, yeah, yeah. And then she started being her. He was like,
Well,
no.
she just. I think that. I don't think that she was being anything other than what she was. I just think that
Oh
he
yeah.
hadn't been around it for so
Right.
long that in the beginning it was like,
Oh, that's
oh,
cute.
that's cute. But then after a while, it's like,
Actually.
you still doing that shit from 20 years ago? Like, ain't you tired? Like, you too old for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you was too
Mm-hmm.
old for it then. Like, it turns into that. Like, the same stuff that you like let slide, like, oh, that's cute. Now it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, that shit is actually not cute.
Yeah.
And so it could be some of that wrapped up in there. Put
That's what it is.
Filed them papers on the 2-year anniversary. Talk about deja vu.
And just
Deuces,
deuced it.
literally. Deuces, literally.
That's
So,
crazy.
yeah, man. So, you know, I would just end with just saying that be careful spinning the block, because yes, it can work out sometimes, and then you can get a baby by a nigga that you love, and he always smiling when he with you and stuff. That could absolutely happen.
Or you could be looking stressed out eating Dunkin' Donuts like Ben Affleck was all this year.
he been
Every
looking, yeah, he was looking real sad.
every
He just
picture
didn't look. He just looked unhappy.
he did. Now the
Yeah,
beginning, happy as a lark,
just happy
but
as a lamb, but it's just sadness. Just
yeah, yeah,
overshadowed his whole world.
yeah.
So be careful spending the black people. That's all. That's all I got to say about that. As the good brother Forrest Gump would say. Yeah,
Did he say that?
he said that's all I got to say about that.
Oh, I thought it was something about the spinning the block part. That's why I
Oh,
was confused. I was like, what? Well, on that note, we will end it there. This has been Culture Foolishness. I am Creed of Exit Studios, architectsandmars.com, and my co-host is.
Coach Tamara Simone.
We are out. This episode was brought to you by architectsandmars.com. Sample sales still going now. New stuff is available. Check us out. And we are out. See you next
Peace.
week.